I've been in the grind of trying to climb the corporate ladder 17-ish years. Practice smiling before going in so my face doesn't show that I'm like, oh man, this is miserable.
In a golden cage to be in a corporate because it's stability, you know that you will have your guaranteed paycheck.
I was so scared about making a move, and I'm scared every single day, to be honest, on what I'm doing. And I doubt myself every single day. One of the main things to me, I think, is presence. So even before I even start talking, oh man, there's just so many people that are really successful out there. And one thing that I see that the common denominator for a lot of them is like,
Welcome to Confident Secrets, the podcast where presence meets power. I'm your host, Kate, a self presentation coach, and I work with ambitious women to elevate how they show up on stage, on camera, and everywhere in the world. So their presence fully reflects their power. Today's guest is someone who embodies the power of authentic innovation. Because after nearly 2 decades in climbing corporate ladder, she made the bold decision to walk away from stability to create something that is more aligned with her value. She's the founder of Sokit Beauty, a Korean skincare boutique. Yoona So. Welcome to the show. I'm truly honored to have you here, and I have the feeling this conversation is going to be very interesting and resonate with so many women because I was there in corporate and I'm doing right now my own business, and I know there are so many women who want to do this change. So again, welcome, and I would love for you to introduce yourself in your own words.
yeah, thank you so much, Kate, for having me here. And it's interesting to see your intro because as I was thinking about, presence and how to show up, and I see you speaking, I'm like, oh, you are the example of how to show up and be visible and be confident about yourself and what you're saying and be there to really elevate also everybody that is listening to this podcast. So thank you for having me. It's truly an honor. For anyone here in the audience, I just want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Yoona. I am Korean. I grew up in South America, so I have a multicultural background, hence my accent. And I came here to the States when I was in college, so about 18 years old, I think. I came here. I did college here. I finished my education and I went into the world of finance. So I studied with wealth management. I went into management consulting. I did corporate finance, like project management, everything within kind of like the finance umbrella for about 17-ish years. So I've been in the grind of trying to climb the corporate ladder, going between different companies, but also having different companies as my clients. And through that, I mean, I think I grew up so much just by being in corporate, being surrounded by people that I could learn from. And then after having my second kid, so after the pandemic and after having my second kid, or while I was pregnant with my second kid, I realized that while corporate was all good and I had a great career and great stability, I wanted something more. So I wanted the flexibility. I wanted to be able to be there for my kids and spend time with them while also building something for myself. So the transition for me going from corporate to owning my own business and starting my own business was a little bit more personal. I wanted to spend time with my kids and I wanted to do it in my own time. I wanted to be able to do things the way I want to do things. And then with Sokit, skincare has always been a passion of mine. So I felt that there was something there. I've been helping a lot of my friends and a lot of coworkers with recommendations. I would always bring in, oh, you know what, I heard about this thing, or I've tried this and it's kind of okay, but this one is better. So I've always been recommending things to my friends, and I thought that there was something a little bit more there that I could do. So that's kind of why I jumped into Sokit 100%. So that's me in a
Wow.
nutshell.
Bold move, especially I didn't know that you have kids. I feel so for wow. For many women, they feel like, in a golden cage to be in a corporate because it's stability, you know that you will have your guaranteed paycheck. And especially when you have kids, means everyone has this courage to change because your own business, it's not necessarily a stability to development. It's still a known journey because you've been into corporate. It's a different way of doing business. So I would love to talk about it in more details. Maybe you can share your tips and tricks so other women can get inspired and don't be afraid to move from something towards something bigger. And especially you went for your passion, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think I
And
could
great.
share a little bit more on that journey because it was so personal and it was also so for me, I at the time I used to listen to a lot of podcasts. I used to listen to a lot of watch a lot of TikTok videos about founders and their stories and all that. And for the most part, a lot of the things that I would see is like males, like guys going out and building their business and they're all super driven and always talking about, you have to put 100%, like 120% of your time and energy into building this, but I'm like following, following, following. I'm like, I can relate to everything that you're doing until it starts getting into, well, you need to put your nights and days and all your energy into it. But I'm like, but I have kids. So this is the point where you and I start being different, right? So you might be able to do that because you have a partner that is there 100% for the kids. For me, it's like I do have a partner, but we both work. So I can have the luxury of like leaving my kids, obviously. I mean, it's definitely not a luxury, but I can dedicate 100% of my time. And partly reason for me leaving corporate was so I could spend more time with my family. I do think personally, at least when I made a transition. So when I was in corporate and I was pregnant with my first kid, I was going through this phase of getting a promotion. And then I came back to the workforce after my maternity leave. I got the promotion, but mentally had something had shifted. So I no longer was that interested in getting another promotion or going for what's next or trying to be there a little more present with executives and all that. It was more my mindset shifted into, okay, how can I get this done and get out and spend more time with my kids and be able to enjoy life, right? And through that transition, then the second kid came. And with that, I'm like, okay, if I'm really not enjoying what I'm doing, I should not do it anymore because all my energy, I was surrounded with all this negativity, all these negative thoughts around, oh my God, I wake up in the morning and I'm just depressed because I have to go to work and I stand in front of the office and I have to like smile and I have to, practice smiling before going in. So my face doesn't show that I'm like, oh man, this is miserable. So I had to do that quite a long time. And a transition, I think a lot of people that I was following, I heard a lot of people saying, you have to be confident, like, don't be afraid. But I was scared shitless. Sorry for my language, but I was so scared about making a move. And I'm scared every single day, to be honest, on what I'm doing. And I doubt myself every single day. That said, I don't think it's an entirely bad thing as long as you know how to deal with it. So for me, even though I'm doubting myself and I doubt every choice that I made as I was leaving corporate, I think that's what fueled me to do better and try to improve, right? So I'm not letting fear eat me alive. I'm really using that as fuel to try to do a little bit more or try to learn more or try to figure out different ways of doing things that you see all your competitors or peers doing. But it's like, okay, well, how can I do it slightly differently so I can make it my own? Or I am scared of, I don't know, for me, it was like opening up a retail store here in Fullerton in Orange County. And I was just thinking, everybody's going the other way. You go usually from owning a retail store to growing your online site so you can be away from not do retail anymore and fully dedicate to your online presence. And for me, it was the opposite. I started online, but I thought at the time, I'm like, man, everybody's going the other way. However, I want a place for people to be able to come in and be able to talk to me, be able to try things out before they go buy and buy everything that they find online, right? So I was very scared and doubted every choice that I made, but that really fueled me to do it better and try to do it differently. So I think that for the people that are in your audience that are listening to this, being scared to me personally, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think we're all scared in some way, shape, or form. It's just how you channel that and what you do with it that makes a difference.
Wow, thanks. I would love to jump into also to details because you covered a lot of things, how you changed, how you approach your business right now. And I feel it's a great beginning, inspirational beginning for our conversation. But also, I would love to know you from a different side, more like fun and personal. I prepared for you a quick fire round.
Oh, okay.
So just go with your guts without overthinking, just whatever comes to your mind first. Ready?
Okay.
Coffee, tea, or matcha?
Oh, tea. Oh, coffee.
A morning skincare routine or eating rituals?
Evening. Definitely evening. In the morning, I just like to get up, wash my face, rinse with water, and put two, three things and be out the door.
Bold red lip makeup or glass skin glow?
Glass skin glow. Definitely.
What's your favorite music style or band?
K-pop.
Okay. I was expecting
All I listen to, all I listen to these days is really just kids' lullabies, to be honest.
how does a perfect vacation look like for you? Is it a vacation with your kids or getaway with your girlfriend?
Um, a true vacation would be without my kids, where I get to rest and hang out with my friends. Um, and vacation with my kids would feel a little bit more like extra work, but equally enjoyable. Okay, you're not relaxing.
And the last one, be a center of attention or power behind the scenes.
Power behind the scenes, for sure. Especially for me, and I know it was a fire chat, but but I wanted to explain a little bit because I am an extreme introvert. Extreme introvert. However, not a lot of people know about that, about that. Because I think over time being in corporate and being in consulting, I trained myself to be able to be present and be able to do presentations and things like that, but I am a true introvert at heart. And when I look at my skill sets, I think I am better. So, you have different types of CEOs. There are some that are really good at being visionaries and driving the vision, and they put their army around them to be able to execute well. I think for me, more than being a visionary, I mean, if I'm true to myself, I think more of an executioner and somebody that can get things done. So I might take a little bit more time making decisions and crafting the vision, but in for me, it's like getting it done and driving it to completion is where my forte is. And I like empowering others around me to be able to go together and do it together versus being all about me.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for playing along and also thanks for providing additional details. Definitely helps me also to shape my next question to you. You spent almost 2 decades in corporate, right? And now you have your own business. You've been to different boardrooms, different stages doing presentations for your clients. Now you work with your clients in your retail space. How do you approach making a first strong impression? And
Yeah.
how maybe it changed from the way you did it in corporate
Uh-huh.
now.
It's like day and night for me. So the reason I say that when it comes to the corporate world, because I had clients that are multi-million dollar companies that are Fortune 500 companies, the way that you have to show up is very different. Like you have to show up very professional, also very, very knowledgeable. So I would spend like days ahead of a specific presentation preparing for it, but also thinking about, okay, if this person says this or there's an objection about like the strategy or something, how to mitigate that, right? And it's very strategic. It's very thoughtful in a way that you're thinking about the specific outcome. So the way that I would present myself is like I would look at all the different scenarios. I would try to come up with different ways of mitigating those scenarios, and I would show up very, very confident because I had practiced a lot, because I had researched a lot, and I was like 100% prepared. In my business is extremely different because the way that I do things is not as strategic in terms of mind games. Because the goal for me here in my business is being able to help people. So that doesn't come from like, oh, if you say this, I'm gonna say this. If you look at it from a different point, I'm gonna go and come back with something else, right? It's more for, okay, what do you really need? What is your skin concern? Like, what are you battling with? And it's really truly trying to understand you as a person and the struggles that you have and being able to help you with obviously the knowledge that we're gaining through presentations and talks with the clients and the research that we do. Obviously, all of that is still the core of what makes me a little more confident in what I do. but the way that I approach the situation is very different because this one really comes from a place where I'm caring about someone versus trying to go and win a deal with a client, right? So I think that is a major, major difference. And I really truly enjoy what I do here with my customers that, at the end of the day, when they come back and they tell me, those two or three things that you said I should do, or like that one switch that we did in our routine truly helped me. I feel like that is what matters the most to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. It seems like back in the day, you wanted to project more authority and power, while now your main focus is to be more friendly, open, and so people can feel safe and trust. So
Absolutely.
when they are with you, is there any body language cues that you pay attention to when you work with your clients?
It's again massively different while I was in corporate than here. But if I can tell you a little bit of the things that I pay attention to here are the small conversations between the customer and the person that they come with, right? Because you'll be able to tell if they're comfortable or they're not comfortable with the situation and with who they're talking to. So for me, when they walk in and they're walking around and they're talking to me, I can pick up, okay, well, maybe they need a little bit of help because you can see them shifting a little bit, or they can stand in front of something for a little too long, and then you're like, okay, they need help explaining, or maybe they're hesitating in asking questions, but we approach them first in that case. Because for me, it's like, how do we make somebody feel welcome? And also open enough to be able to ask questions and have a conversation. So that's something that I do pay attention a lot here. And also, it's really looking at their eyes. Like, what are they looking at? Do they look uncomfortable? Are they, murmur having like side conversations with their friends or something like that. So things like that we do pay attention. When I was in corporate, it was a little bit different because it was more about looking to see if they're paying attention, looking to see if they are focused on what you're saying, or if you lost them throughout the presentation, if they're leaning back or like comfortably like this, or if they're actually, engaged in the conversation. So those are things that we would always look at to see, okay, if I am explaining a concept that is, I don't know, like a little too complex, or I'm talking about data in a way that I'm going into too much detail and I lose people, I need to backtrack to be able to gain their attention again. So it's different cues that I do pay attention here versus when I was in corporate.
And now let's shift it. How do you prepare yourself before the day of big event? Any mindset tricks or affirmations, or again like body language or any rituals you do with yourself? So for example, even like last week, right, the modern day life event, you were speaking on stage, or maybe you have a meeting with your important client or partner right now in your business. How do you prepare yourself so you show up in the best version of yourself?
One of the main things to me, I think, is presence. So even before I even start talking, um, I need to look presentable. So to me, it's like at a bare minimum, make sure that I do have some makeup on my face because otherwise I look like I just woke out of bed and got dragged out. Um, but I think that at the core of every single day, like before coming in, it's more having like 15 minutes to sit down even before my kids wake up, because once they wake up it's hell. But before they wake up, having those 15-20 minutes to myself, get my coffee, and then mentally start thinking about the day, right? It's like, what are the things that are the most important to me that I need to get done? What are the things that can't wait a little bit so I can push it out for a different day? And it's like, really, like, what are my priorities? And then with that too is, okay, if there is anything important that day, obviously I prepare ahead of time, but that specific day I go mentally through, okay, what are the things that I need to either say or I need to pay attention to or I need to follow up on. So for example, when I went to modern day wife event, before the panel that day, my mind was racing. I had a little bit more than those 15-20 minutes that I usually get to really think about, okay, if I'm going to be speaking at a panel, and I need to think about the questions, but more importantly, what message I want the audience to hear and remember. So it's not like I'm not going to go and prepare every single answer, but what I am going to think about is like, what is the one or two things that the key takeaways that I want somebody that's sitting in that audience to be able to remember. Even if it's like the smallest thing. So those are the things that I usually do on a day-to-day basis. So even if I have a skin analysis consulting here too, it's like, okay, well, what are the two things that I want that person to walk away with?
It's very important to remember that what message you want to deliver, how do you want people to feel in your presence, what's your goal actually, right? Why you're doing this or that. I feel that many people actually forget it and they just go with the flow. Let's see how it goes. And they lose an opportunity, right? You could maybe find a new client or a new partner for your business, but you went just sideways and probably you just lost it. So it's preparation is important and having this goal also is very also important. And you also mentioned in the beginning that you did a big shift again from corporate to business, and probably you have experienced some, maybe there was a time when you didn't feel that confident in what
Mhm.
you are doing. What maybe you can tell us more about it so other people can also see themselves in this situation, and most importantly, what helped you to overcome those challenges?
I think in terms of confidence, like I mentioned earlier, I do doubt myself quite often. It's just that the person that's in front of me might not see it. But one of the biggest decision that I had to make was, do I leave the stability of a job and knowing that I built a career for almost 2 decades? Do I leave that behind to do something completely different and start from zero? And you're kind of putting away, like putting behind your education, like all the years of grinding at corporate America behind to go and try something that you have no conviction over, right? I wasn't sure if Sokit Beauty was going to be a thing, a few months after starting. I wasn't sure if opening up a retail was even a good idea. So all of that, that was probably the moment where I had the most doubt in myself and my decisions, and I questioned absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. And I think what got me through a lot of that was having a partner that I could talk to that could look at it from a little bit more of an objective point of view outside of myself, just because I had so many things in my mind at the time. And I wasn't clear about any of those things. So luckily I have a husband that is extremely supportive, that he will take the kids when he needs to, he will do the housework when he needs, he will do absolutely everything to be able to support me. So that is one thing that I am extremely grateful for, and including with my husband also, like my parents that are there for me as well, always questioning what I do, and not necessarily, it doesn't come from a bad place. It comes from a place where they're worried that they want to make sure that you're going to do okay, right? Um, but to me, it's the ability to have even one person that you can talk to that can help you analyze the situation, can help you see things that you probably weren't seeing. Or if you're really doubting yourself, that one person that knows you well will be able to tell you, hey, you know what? I know that you're having a hard time, that you don't think that you'll be able to do it, but you're really good at this one or two things. So I think you'll be fine. So having somebody in your corner, I think it's the biggest help, and the biggest confidence boost, to be honest.
Having support. But also you mentioned like you are your biggest critic, but also I believe that you have a high level of self-awareness and self-acceptance. And also you not only critique yourself, you also decide your next steps, right? So you grow from the critique. Maybe you do some, I don't know, journaling or some weekly um, priorities check in, or you look back at your week and see like what worked, what didn't work, so you can grow, not only critique. It's important for people to understand that you not only critique yourself. That's actually,
Absolutely. No, that's an amazing tip that you have.
yeah, that you grow from that. It's totally fine to have some critique. For our listeners, you can give some tips. Let's say, what are your 3 tips for standing out and building your own business? Whether it's with your customers, investors, community, or even in your personal life.
I think the biggest one would be, I don't know if I can think of three, but the biggest one that comes to mind at the moment would be, give everything you can without expecting anything in return. So I know that this is something that I discuss quite a lot with my team members, and I do discuss this quite a lot with some of the mentors that I had in the past. But it's the ability to provide value to someone without the expectation of anything, right? And with value, I mean, it could be a tip that you give them. It could be monetary, like freebies that we give out without expecting anybody to like come back or buy more, right? But it could also be the ability to just be there for somebody that needed help or that needed to just come in and be like, oh my God, my skin is like going through the worst. I just need to talk about it. Right. So the ability to just be there for someone and be able to provide that value, because I think that if you put all that goodness out in the world, it will come back to you tenfold at some point in life, right? It might be through the business or something else. But to me, it's like, what can you do to just put more goodness and more kindness in the world? And this thought, actually, I didn't have this thought growing up. I didn't think about this in my 20s or 30s when I was in corporate. I think it's more recent as I'm growing up with the business. And I see, I get to meet different people. I get to talk to different mentors. One of the main things that I've been picking up is like, oh man, there's just so many people that are really successful out there. And one thing that I see that the common denominator for a lot of them is like, they're very selfless. It's not that they're doing everything for money. They're just doing it because they believe that they have something to offer and that can hopefully help someone. So I'm hoping that I can model that as well and channel that as well. And I'm hoping that everybody in this call, or not call, in this podcast, can also model that, or adopt parts of it to the extent that we can, right? So I would say that that is one of the biggest things.
Thanks. That's why I love having different guests because everyone can share their wisdom and own experience because everyone has been through different situations in life. And thanks a lot for sharing that. And for those listeners, where they can find and learn more about Sokit Beauty and them all amazing work you're doing.
Yeah, so we have an Instagram account and we do have a TikTok account, and it's Sokit Beauty, Sokit Beauty. And then we do have our website, it's sokitbeauty.com. We are trying to revamp our social media to put more content that is educational. So, if you come to our website, you're probably going to see all the products. But if you come to our social media, you're going to start seeing more tips about what to do for like different skin types and different skin concerns. More educational, trying to help others that, I mean, not necessarily selling products. So hopefully, if you can check that out. If you have any feedback, let me know. If you wanting to connect live, I mean, just send me a DM in one of those platforms and I'll make sure we can connect after that.
Thanks a lot. Is there anything else that we did not talk about, but you absolutely would love to share, maybe from your professional standpoint, skincare, or anything you love?
Well, I'll just do one quick skincare tip. Um, Less is more. So don't buy everything that you see online. Don't buy everything that you see on TikTok and Instagram that are products that are going viral. Just because it worked for someone, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. It's the same tip, not just for skincare, but for everything else, right? And just because it worked for someone doesn't mean that it'll work for you. You need to figure out ways to customize it for what you need. And that's going to work for your own unique person and your unique skin.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel it might sound simple, but it's worth reminding people because it's so easy to keep buying stuff, keep trying, and then in the end of the day, you have just 100 bottles sitting on your counter and you're not doing anything with you. Or just wasting money, time, and in the worst case scenario, you even ruin your skin. This is absolutely, we don't want that. Thanks again, Yuna. I will leave all the links in the description so you can connect with Yuna and your boutique online and offline, of course. And make sure also you follow Modern Day Vibe because thanks to them, we are connected and we are here for you. So thanks again to everyone for listening to us and joining. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for next episodes of Confident Secrets.